You're such an asshole.
Banging it out at Asshole Consulting, we have a happy fun request. Jake writes, Clary, we've swapped emails before, but my name is Jake and I'd like you to share some intel with me. I've recently retired from the military, settled in Idaho, and am now working as a home inspector, electrician, handyman. The wife and I have always lived within our means, and now that I'm home for good, we have been enjoying life a lot more. With my pension and the kind of money I charge these California transplants for simple shit, we're doing pretty damn well. You charge those California motherfuckers all the money they charge us jacking up our taxes. You charge those motherfuckers as much as possible. We bought a used camper, cheap one, and have been hauling the kids around every chance we get. We love hiking, and that's what I thought I'd reach out to you about. Maybe this video can be fun for both of us. I understand for your videos and podcasts that you're a humping son of a bitch yourself. I'd like you to give me a list of your favorite hikes. Please keep in mind we have 3 kids and we all rolled together. My 2 boys are 10 and 11, so they're good to go. My daughter is only 4. She can't do overnight humps yet, but she can go 5 miles on a day, no bullshit. Yeah, famous as I am, whatever my reputation may, I only do day hikes. I do not camp. I hate camping. Like my hikes are limited. I got to get in there and back to my car and back to my hotel on my buddy's couch or whatever. I do not like camping overnight. These people who are like, oh, we did 5 days in the wilderness. I'm like, fuck you. And the only reason, there's 2 main reasons. One, you got to haul a ton of crap out there, which really slows you down. And then 2, you just don't get the rest. Like camping and sleeping in a tent, you just don't get the rest you need. You just don't. And then it's a miserable experience. Just miserable. So all these hikes I'm going to give you are like day-long hikes, you know. Sometimes you might have to get 2 cars. Like, okay, we drop a car off here, we park the other car here, and we hike that way and get in that car. That's kind of rarer because it's very rare. I get enough people that can, you know, tag along with me where we get 2 vehicles. But all the hikes I'm going to give you are one-day hikes, and you're in and out, and you're back at your hotel, you know, maybe at midnight, but you're back at your hotel taking it easy. I'm looking at places we can check out in the future when she gets big enough, so, you know, use some good man sense. She's going to kick your ass. You know that's coming. The day is going to come, she'll be 13, she's going to be blowing you out of the water. That's how it happens. I already see it happening with some of my friends. I'd appreciate if you keep it limited to the west of the Mississippi and east of the Sierras. I'm sure others would like to hear about trails outside of that area, but I'm the one paying, so fuck them. Yeah, no, there's nothing really, east of the Mississippi? I love it, the people on the east, they're like, oh, have you been to the Smoky Mountains? Like, yeah, what about it? What about the hills you got there? Those are cute. So real cute. Anyway, let me know your price. Take care of it in the Treasure Valley area. Look us up. We'd love to meet. Okay, I gotta jot that down. Treasure Valley, and then there was someone else that said something about like something Springs. Treasure Valley. I'm always looking for a new adventure. All right, I put together a list. And this is in no particular order. I just kind of went from east to west. First thing, you gotta do the Badlands National Park. There are no particular trail. I mean, there are trails, but they're the little dinky 50 feet, you know, fat bloated Christian single mom group could go to. All right. What you want to do is you want to park your car at Sage Creek and hike all the way to the Kanata Basin, and you will go through the thick of the Canyonlands National Park. I'm sorry, not Canyonlands, Badlands National Park. So that is one of my favorite hikes. In the area, same Badlands, South Dakota area, you need to do Harney's Peak and you need to do Sunday Gulch. They are in the same area. If you have the ability and the time, I would do an entire circle route where I would go up to Harney's Peak from Sylvan Lake, down to the highway, which is 244, I think, or to Horse Thief Lake, back up the trail and all that. My girlfriend and I did that, and she absolutely hates me for it. But that's a beautiful. You do the heart of the Badlands or the Black Hills right there. That being said, just going to Harney's Peak and then doing Sunday Gulch, that's enough for the little kids that you have. If you have the time, I would also recommend you do the Rapid Creek hike. It starts in Silver City, South Dakota, and it goes up until the trail ends. And by end, I mean the trail will keep going, but it starts to get bushwhacky. out there, and then it's not that good of a hike anymore, but that's kind of an interesting one. If you want to be truly out in the Black Hills, that's another one you can do. There are several hikes along Spearfish Canyon, like Iron Creek, but Spearfish Canyon you're going to want to drive, and then there's just various hikes that spur off. None of them are too long, but they're, you bang out 5 or 6 of them in a day, and you'll get a really good feel for Spearfish Canyon. And then Crow Peak, I really like that one because you can see the Badlands. I'm sorry, you can see the Black Hills. You can see Wyoming. You can see South Dakota. I think you can even see, no, you can't see it, but you can see Wyoming. Can you see Montana? You might even be able to see a bit of Montana, but I double checked. The Northern Black Hills don't even bother. But Crow Peak is definitely one. And there's a ton of other, the Black Hills and the Badlands there, it's just wonderful. There's so many more hikes. Those are just the best ones. So if you go out there, you spend 2 weeks, there's other hikes. Centennial Trail, plenty of different stuff, but hit me up there if you go there. What else? If you happen to be out in the middle of nowhere, eastern Wyoming, Laramie Peak is kind of a cool, quick, one and done kind of deal. You can see it's the tallest peak in the area, like one of the few 10,000 foot peaks out in that area, and you could see everything. It's going to take a bit to get there, so you really got to have nothing else going on. Otherwise, I would recommend in Wyoming a bunch of hikes in the Bighorn Mountain Range. There are Lost Twin Lakes hike. There is Cloud Peak, if you can handle 13,000 feet and above. Helen Lake is also along that. These are all in the same area. So there's Lost Twin Lakes, there's Helen Lake, and then there's Cloud Peak. Those are all kind of in the same area. If a Cloud Peak, that's one of those where you're going to have to camp, do the peak, come back, and then go back to your car. I don't like that one, but it's if you want to go up to the highest peak in the range, you can. Then there is also Seven Brothers Lakes. That's a fun hike in the Bighorn Mountains. And then what's the other one? Lake Angeline is another hike in the Bighorn Mountains. You're gonna HQ out of Buffalo, Wyoming. Take Highway 16 up to the trailheads, and you'll find them there. But those are multiple hikes you can do. Again, you probably want to spend a week in Buffalo. Dedicate yourself to that. Do the Bighorn Mountains. And again, there's always way more hikes than the ones. Those are just my favorite ones. Hanging Lake. It's in between. What is it? Outside of. What's the name of the town? It's in between Vail and Grand Junction. It's on the interstate on I-70. Hanging Lake. That's an hour hike. Beautiful though. Totally worth it. It's like if you happen to be going through and you got yourself an extra hour and a half, pull the car over, go hike Hanging Lake in Colorado. Near your area in Idaho, I have not done a lot in Idaho. I just haven't. It's one of the few states I haven't been to that much. But Trapper Peak is a great hike. That is the most pretty mountain peak I've ever, the view is the most beautiful I've ever seen. Trapper Peak. You drive the majority of the way up, and it's only I think a 4-mile hike, if that even, from the trailhead to the peak. But it's steep. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. But it's definitely worth getting to the top there. So that's Trapper Peak. It's on the border between Montana and Idaho, south of Missoula. Hallett's Peak, Rocky Mountain National Park. That's the only peak I've climbed in Rocky Mountain National Park. Very beautiful, very wonderful. One and done. I think it took me 3.5 hours round trip. It's something you can drive right up to. Kids are in shape. You can go up. There's like a glacier. You're on the ridge between Rocky, so you can see all the way over to Granby. In other words, you're on top of Rocky Mountain National Park, so you can see Denver, and then you can see west of the other towns because you're on the spine of Rocky Mountain National Park. Deseret Peak outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. Beautiful hiking, beautiful mountain. You can see everything. You see the salt beds. You can see Salt Lake. You can see Salt Lake City, and you can see all the mountains to your south. That's a bit of a challenging one, but it can be done in a day. And then Vernal, Utah. If you end up way the hell out there, take the kids to Dinosaur National Monument. Take them to the Dinosaur Dig. It's very cool. It takes 2 minutes to drive there. But you'll want to hike Johnson Hole Trail. It's just a canyon. It's nothing hard or technical. You gotta drive about 40 minutes to get to the trailhead. But when you hike down the stream and you get to the Yampa Green River connect, it's one of the most beautiful sights you're ever going to see. That is definitely, and Vernal is way the hell out in the middle of nowhere, and it doesn't cost you anything because nobody's out there. I mean, it's just nobody knows about Dinosaur National Monument. You think, oh, it's about dinosaurs, yeah, but it's beautiful. It's the beginning of the Grand Canyon system. Is basically what that is, and just some amazing canyons. That hike is one thing, and then Harper's Point, that's not a hike. While you're out there, don't deny yourself Harper's Point. You're going to have to drive all the way around the south and go into Colorado and then drive the 30 miles up to Harper's Point, but go to Harper's Point. It's not a hike, but if you're out to Vernal, you're 99.9999% there. Please do the extra 0.001% and go to Harper's Point. Moab. This you're going to have to spend 2 weeks on. And I wish there was just one hike I'd recommend, but I can't. Moab is... That's the 800-pound gorilla I have yet to tackle in the room. I've been there multiple times. And Canyonlands National Park, that's the main one you're going to want to go to. It has a ton of different trails, a ton of different hiking. It has 3 different components to the national park system. Honestly, you're probably going to want to mountain bike it. It's that big and vast. I did a beautiful hike in the Needles District, which is the southern unit of Canyonlands National Park. You have to drive about an hour south of Moab, cut over, and you do that part. The problem is that the rivers, the Colorado and Green Rivers, split these components of the national park apart, and and I haven't been to there's 3. There's the Island in the Sky, there's the Needles, and then there's another one that's just way the fuck out there, and very few people go there. The paradox with Moab is it's insanely expensive. It's $250 a night for an average hotel, and so it costs a lot. Now you got the trailer, so that's pretty good. You can probably do it, but you're going to want to at least set aside 2 weeks to do Moab any decent justice. Because even I've just bit off nips and tucks of it. I've done some hiking off of the Island in the Sky. I've gone down into the Plain in the Basin, gone down to other canyons. That is, I'd wait till your kids are 16 and older. They're going to have to be full adults ready to hike or bike. I think you should get into mountain biking before you go there because you just can't hike it. It's too damn big. But beautiful. That's the most beautiful part of the contiguous United States. Then Zion, also in Utah, Zion National Park. There are 2 trails you want to hike. Angel's Landing, not too difficult, not too easy either, but certainly doable in a day. You can easily leave Vegas, wake up at 10, leave Vegas, get to Zion at noon, do the hike, and be back in Vegas by 6 or 7 p.m. It's not a long hike, but it's pretty vertical. And then the Temple of Surinawa, that's where you're hiking up the river, so you're just going to have to wear galoshes, or you're just going to have to get your legs cold, and that is totally worth it. So if I were you, if it comes to Zion, if you're going to do that, plan on 2 hikes, Angel's Landing and the Temple of Surinawa. Stay in St. George, because Angel's Landing is only going to take 2.5, 3 hours maybe, especially if your family's in shape. Temple of Surinawa, that depends on how far up you want to go, but you're going to want to make them separate day trips. And all Zion is basically just a canyon, and you follow the stream up, and there's different hiking paths you can take off the stream. Angel's Landing will come first, and then Temple of Surinawa is where like the shuttle terminates and turns around, heads back. That's just get up there in the morning and then hike as far as you can, and then make your way back before it gets too dark. Then we have the Phoenix, Tucson area. Sabino Canyon is one of my favorite hikes. It's not a drop-dead gorgeous hike. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it's a fun hike. I really like it. You're in the middle of the desert, and there's water coming out of this canyon. And so you hike, and you hike up the water, and then you go up to the ridge, and then you hike up the ridge, and then you come back down. It's just a fun little peak. And then Phoenix has a ton of hiking. Phoenix is like a hiker's dream come true. Both trails in the town and then just immediately outside of the town. What you're going to want to look at is Squaw Peak and Camelback Peak. Those are in the metro area. So for whatever reason you and your family happen to be in Phoenix, those are must-dos. And then if you're willing to drive, I think 30 minutes outside of town, go to the east side of town, there's the Peralta Mountain Trails. And those are, it's just a network of trails. Saddleback Peak is one of my favorites. And again, this is not like you're going to be going to Canyonlands. It's just you happen to be in Phoenix, you're looking for something to hike. Peralta, you could do Thompson Peak, that's another one, although it's just climbing a peak. It's not really like beautiful. But Peralta, Squaw Peak, Camelback's fun. A lot of scrambling. Camelback is fun and challenging. So those are Phoenix and Tucson, or Tucson, as I like to, or no, Tucson. Santa Fe. If you go to Santa Fe, great hike. Sandia Peak. You park your car, there's a tramway or a gondola that rides from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. You park your car at the gondola, and then you hike to your northwest. These trails that hook up and then switch back up to the top of Sandia Mountain. And you just basically hike to the tramway. You pay your $15, head back down. Now, you with a bunch of kids, that's going to be a $60 trip. But it's about just shy of 9 miles one way. And, oh, it's fun. That was just a great peak. That was just a fun peak. I really enjoyed that one. It didn't take me... I was intimidated by it. Everyone says, oh, it took me 9 hours. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I better leave in the morning. I think I banged it out in 3.5. It's not as intimidating as you think. Because you see the mountain goes like this. You're like, oh, shit. Well, yeah, you're going over here, and you're taking your time, and it's not that bad at all. All right. Sandia, Sabino, Peralta, Hamlet's Trapper. Just want to make sure I got all around Cloud. Okay. There's a town called Leavenworth, Washington. State of Washington. I know you said east of the Sierra. This is part of the Sierra Nevada. If you get out to Leavenworth, Washington, there's a ton of hiking out there. I did a beautiful hike. I can't remember the name of it. I went and looked at the map, but there's just a ton of hiking. You take Icicle Road out, and I want to say it's like Icicle Gulch or something like that. But there's just a ton of hiking outside of Leavenworth, Washington. Very beautiful. Any hike is going to be fine. I think it was July, and there was still snow on the mountains. It was wonderful. Vegas. Vegas, again, maybe not Glacier National Park. And I'm not a big fan of Glacier National. I was not impressed at all with Glacier National. That's why it doesn't make the list. It's just fine. Yeah, go there. But if you happen to be in Vegas, you have to do Red Rock Canyon, specifically Icebox Canyon. You can do Turtle Peak. Turtle Peak is cool. You get up to the top. It's not particularly beautiful, and it's a tough one because there's no trail. You're bushwhacking it, but you get to see Vegas and you get to see the desert. So that's a pretty cool hike. But there was a Icebox Canyon is the one you want to hike in Red Rock Canyon National Monument outside of Vegas. I think it flows year-round. There's water in the middle of the freaking desert. There's a huge waterfall that comes out, and it's got to be at least a couple hundred feet of a drop. And it's the juxtaposition of a waterfall in the desert. And so, again, you may find yourself in Vegas with the family. I'd recommend Icebox Canyon, Turtle Peak, and then go to Hoover Dam, check it out. Oh, wow, it's big. Look what Americans used to do when they weren't hamstringed by pussies. So ooh and ah at the dam, but then there's a hike to the immediate west of the dam on the other side of the highway, and you just follow this inevitable trail down. There's hot springs, so inevitably there's a stream that starts to form because there's just hot springs coming out, and people bathe in the streams. It's hot, and then you gotta rappel. There's ropes. I've seen people get injured. Don't get injured. Please be very careful. This is not something to take your little 4-year-old down. Again, wait till they're 16. But again, you happen to find yourself in Vegas, go down to the Hoover Dam. There's a hike down there on the other side of the highway with hot springs. inevitably this stream forms and it empties out into the Colorado River. So you're downstream from the Hoover Dam. You inevitably get there, and there's kayakers and people camping and all that. And it's really cool. It's dangerous. It's slippery. And you're going to have to rappel down ropes and climb yourself up. But that is a really fun hike that I'd recommend. So, but anyway, so those are kind of like the ones that stand out the most. I've done more, obviously. Was it Flinch or Finch Peak? I've done, was it Suicide Peak, Engineer Mountain? It's not like, and trust you me, there's other people, like my buddy Denver Ben. We did Bierstadt, Mount Bierstadt. If you want to bang out a 14er, say you did a 14er, Mount Bierstadt, you drive right up to the base of you, hike it 3 miles, but it's not compelling. It's not like, oh my God, wow. There's certainly some great hiking in Glacier National. I just wasn't that inspired. Banff and Jasper, dude, you could get lost. I mean, but that's up in Canada. Alaska's got some beautiful stuff. Smithers, British Columbia, amazing hiking. But that's, again, in Canada. There's a lot of stuff I haven't, and here's the sad thing. You and I and 100 other people don't have the life expectancy to do all these trails. There's just way too much beauty out in the American West and the Canadian West as well. But those are the ones I really like. I have a particular affinity for the Black Hills because you're not going up to 12,000 feet, and I've never ran out of oxygen. They're always enjoyable hikes. And they're doable, you know, like, and then you'll have variety in the Black Hills because there's the Badlands, you can get prairie, you can get desert, you can get, it's just everything out there. But I would, yeah, I mean, and then you probably know Idaho way better than I do. I never got really into the Bitterroot Mountains except for Trapper Peak. But again, that's kind of a one and done thing. So anyway, hope that's a good list. Trust you me, that's not the only one. And I hope people down below make some recommendations because I'm always up for a good hike. So if anybody else has some great hiking recommendations, one-dayers, let the old captain know and help out our client. But those are the captain's favorite hikes. So hope that helps out. And dude, 10 years going to go by. That girl will be 14. She's going to be kicking your ass. And then I'll be laughing because I've seen it happen. So, all right, best of luck to you and your family. Toodles.